No, it sounds great, and it sounds a lot better than the last time I heard
Yeah.
like that in seminar, so you're making progress with it for sure. Which wrist is giving you trouble this one? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't think about that until like halfway through. Sorry if that was a little too much for the wrist.
No, it's good because I need to. I've just been trying to like work on technique and stuff.
Yeah, that I won't make you do too much with that. Just if it hurts. But just in general, I was noticing a lot of stiffness with the right hand. And I've had a lot of trouble with this as well. And I think with that, I guess just maybe working kind of from the end and going backwards, like even that last quarter of the piece, like after the big pause or whatever.
Yeah.
That's kind of, I don't know, ties your fingers and knots a little bit. So there's a lot going on in that. But with, I would say kind of in general, throughout the piece, there wasn't a ton of dynamic contrast, which that's up to you because he didn't write any dynamics in there, so you really can do kind of, I think you can kind of do whatever you want with the dynamics, but I guess for the sake of just giving it some shape and contour kind of overall, you might want to, work on volume a little bit and kind of coming down a little bit here, listen to the piece and just kind of look through it and maybe play through it and thinking specifically about dynamics, what would sound good if it was brought down a little bit, and then you can kind of grow. And even there's some places that sound, maybe it seems kind of more apparent, like the kind of through here, and even kind of getting into here, that da 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 da, and then kind of all through here. I feel like this is kind of a big turning point of sounding angrier and more dramatic.
Yeah.
And I feel like this whole part is just sad, and you're just sad about something, and then that low C sharp is kind of, you're like, wait, I have things to say about this, and that's when you can maybe before that you can kind of drop in dynamics, and then you have somewhere to go. And then by the time you get to the end, I feel like the climax is that big chord, and then with the fermata, which is, it's a great chord. And after that, maybe come back down a little bit with dynamics, which is kind of hard to do on the up bow.
Yeah.
But and about that specifically, I feel like just with that up bow, it's kind of hard to do. It's tempting to want to, when you play that chord, to kind of brandish your bow out really far, but I would recommend keeping it very close to the string so that you can come back really quickly, because otherwise you're having to place it on the string without making any sound, all the way at the tip, and then start really quietly. So try not to venture out too far.
You're talking with the
that diminished chord, but and then kind of hold it, and then you can start. And with your right hand, just with some of the stiffness, I think kind of there at the end, it was on the C string, it was sounding a little growly.
Yeah.
And I think that would probably be a result of maybe pressing into the string a little bit too much, so you don't, and that's kind of making it harder for yourself, so you don't want to press too much, just kind of let the weight of your arm go into the bow, and then that's less work for you to do, but it is hard to be able to do that properly, especially when you're trying to raise dynamics a little bit, you just want to press into it, but and then the last thing about the end is, which I think he mentioned this maybe in seminar, just watch with the chords, make sure you give those the full 3 beats. So ba-da, 2, 3, ba-da, 2, 3, and then in the last 2 you can draw if you longer if you want, just because that's proper retardando place. But so how about the beginning was good. The whole first page.
I feel like part of also the reason is just like the pain just like starts to increase a little bit just because of like I think technique problems because as you said like I use more like of my arm and I need to let it more.
Yeah, and I do as well. So what you need to be able to do is like, and even just for slow practice, is consciously try to pronate your wrist, when like on the down bows and then kind of that like point right before you switch. Yeah. So maybe, how about try just like the first like...
The chord.
No, how about just try it the first like couple of bars. Okay. Maybe like a little under tempo and like if you a little out of tune, like that's okay to focus mostly on like on just like the movement of the wrist and not all like kind of sawing it out.
No. Where was it?
You're definitely very purposely putting in movement to your wrist, so that's good. One of my old teachers in high school always kind of talked about like when you're bowing, like a lot of it is finger movement too. So it's not all your wrist doing all the work. You need to be able to like move your fingers around kind of like this, so that it's just as controlled by the fingers as it is by the wrist and the arm. So it's all kind of a collaborative effort. And she always put a lot of emphasis on like the pinky as kind of being like one of the best ways to like tell if you're really pronating, because being the shortest finger, you can kind of see it like kind of comes up a little bit. And yeah, so it's hard to do, and especially if you're having trouble with your wrist, it's not something you want to like strain too much. But yeah, you're thinking about it, so that that's a good place. that's the best place to start.
It's annoying though that like I had to get tendonitis to realize that I had a problem.
That's
oh well.
Not the most fun way to.
I mean, everyone gets it at some point, I think. If you're playing cello.
Hopefully.
You haven't gotten it?
No.
Nice. Good posture.
Yeah, not really. Maybe I just don't practice enough. But, what time are we at?
It's 13 minutes.
Okay. Is it time to get? Oh, we have
it's
a couple
2,
minutes.
Yeah.
Okay, here we'll just go over maybe a couple more things. Let's see. Yeah, maybe let's do the end a little bit. Maybe with so maybe you can practice like this this cutoff, just because you don't. I feel like if I feel I always forget about it when I'm playing it, and then I find myself there, and it's kind of like you're like upstream without a paddle or something, and then you're just kind of like okay, yeah, and I feel like this once again dynamically it feels most natural for this to be a pretty quiet part, because it's like build up, chord, and then suddenly cut off. You don't want to come thundering back in, because that's just gonna take away from the effect a little bit. This whole like last part of it of the piece is just a little more kind of contemplative, maybe kind of rises a little bit in dynamics, and then you got the big finish. But when we come right back in, it's a little quieter. So maybe start from. Let's see. Would this be a weird place to start?
That looks good.
Yeah. Start right here, and once again, try to practice, like, instead of dramatically like bringing it way out. Like, you know, obviously you can leave the string, you know, you need to leave it, but just keep it close so that you can kind of get back into it. Yeah. Yeah, that was great. And you could probably even, yeah, you know, honestly, I really like the way you did that because it was like you made it dramatic, but then you kind of like came down just enough to be able to kind of stay in the area.
Yeah.
You could probably lead the string, you know, a little bit more if you wanted to, but I think that's a good way to practice it.
Because I guess like if I get too far, I was like, it'll sound like you have to like get more pressure. I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought that was good. And that hearing you play like right before that reminded me another thing, just in general.